So the liberator provided liberty, and we are to stand fast in that liberty. And then the warning, don't be entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Jesus the same yesterday, today, and forever from Hebrews 13. And so every day all along the way, we can raise both hands with a smile on our face, irregardless of the temporary situation or prevalent circumstance of the moment, and say with joy, thank God I'm free. Can you say that this morning? So before your father Abraham was, I am. The law made us condemned. All have sinned, come short of the glory of God. There's none righteous, no, not one. They've all together gone out of the way, become unprofitable. Is there any one of us this morning who hasn't had some type of negative thought this week? Has anyone not lived all week long and you've not said the first little dirty word? We've all sinned. Now that old entanglement with bondage will let you sit there and say, talk to somebody else, you ain't talking to me. Preacher, you need to be directing that over yonder in that other section. Because over here in this section or that section, we don't live like that. We're perfect. No, you're not perfect yet. But you're going to be. And the word perfected just means really at one meant or atonement with Jesus. It's all through him. Thank God I'm free, but I'm free because of the one who freed me. I've got liberty, but it's because of my liberator. I'm not a slave anymore. I'm a son of God, but it's because of my emancipator, the Lord Jesus. And God shares everything he's got liberally with all of us, but he reserves, as Isaiah teaches us, his glory for himself. So then he resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So I hope that nobody is so proud this morning that we won't admit the fact that we were in bondage. And that law of Moses and the Old Testament precepts says that we're all condemned. Jesus said that to Nicodemus in John 3. This is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, but men love darkness rather than light. People are not going to talk about good things. They just don't want to do that. We just, by nature of Adam, we like to talk about the bad things, whatsoever they may be. There's a lot of folks in this world that did a lot of good this week, but that probably won't be on CNN or NBC or Fox News. But you'll see everything wrong, everything bad, just negative energy swirling around all the time. And you still have a choice. Whether to be involved in the frailties of Adam who fell, or in the faithfulness of Christ, who is our great emancipator. So don't be entangled again with the yoke of bondage. God's love makes us children. See that? The law made us condemned. People are condemned already, Jesus said. Technically, and see, that's the thing about studying the Bible, talking the Bible, and debating doctrine with other denominational people and things like that. You know, you always look at it in different ways, and people say, well, you got two choices. Technically, in reality, sinner friend, if you've never been saved today, you only have one choice. His name is Christ. You say, no, you're condemned already. If you have passed the age of accountability, and you know in your heart that you're accountable for your sin before a holy God, then you only have one choice. You're already condemned. Bondage. The verdict has been declared from the pinnacles of heaven long ago. You're guilty. And the sentence was pronounced. Separation from God eternally. The smoke of their torment ascends up forever. where the soul never dies and the fire is not quenched. You don't hear much preaching on the destination of condemnation anymore. But to be condemned by God, pronounced guilty with a sentence looming of eternal separation from everything that's light, everything that's love, everything that's pleasurable, everything that's good, everything that's anti-God, they still call that place hell. Wasn't made for man, it was made for the devil and his angels that rebelled. And yet when Adam made his choice, all humanity then became destined to that end. So what about that? The law made us condemned, but God's love makes us children. You can see human behavior in the bondage of Satan everywhere. God help the little children who are trapped in sex trafficking. Some of us seated on church pews in America this morning, you have no clue of what's going on in the shadows and the darkness of this world. Interstate 81, I've been told, is one of the main arteries of sex trafficking from the border all the way to the cities of the northeast United States. From Boston, Philly, New York, all the rest of them. You don't know what's passing you in the night right out here in this old world. When my mother and Matthew and I was eating supper last night, boy, everybody was all dolled up for St. Patty's Day. I thought to myself, they're going to have a time in their mind tonight. Sin. People say, oh, it's fun. It might be fun, but it's killing you. The devil will have you somewhere where somebody will say, try this. You're going to live. You're inhaling death. 2 Corinthians 4 says that the God of this world has blinded the minds of people lest they believe the glorious light of the gospel and be saved. So, sinner, this is serious business. The reason why we've preached behind this pulpit for the last 40 years is because people are going to that place. They're condemned already. And the reason why Jesus didn't criticize, the reason why Paul and the rest of them didn't go into those towns and jump all over the sinners, they knew they were sinners and condemned already. They didn't need to hear any more about all their condemnation, their frailties, and their faults. They needed to hear about the man who came to make a difference in their lives. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So we can talk about human behavior in the bondage of sin all day long. It's evidenced everywhere. Gossip, tale-bearing, pride is the biggest one. Feet that are swift to run to mischief. He that sows discord among the brethren. All of these sins in the Bible that are pertinent to the church world. And of course you've got murder. Of course you've got robbery. Of course you've got grand larceny. Of course you've got adultery, fornication, all kinds of sin. They're everywhere. Sin is sin. And some sins are more deeper and far-reaching than others. But they'll all be given an account for when we stand before God. 1 John 5, he that has the Son has life. And he that has not the Son of God has not life. So the great question is, do you have Jesus? So the human behavior in the bondage of sin is evident, seen all the time. Human reaction to redemption. How many real good sold out Christians do you know? I'm just asking. You say, well, what is a good Christian? Read your Bible. They bear the characteristics of Christ. They inevitably produce the fruit of the Spirit. That's the inner character of Christ. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness and goodness and faith and meekness and temperance.